The story begins with Henry, an overly innocent man working the night shift at a toll booth. His life seemed colorless and dull. One morning, when he got home, his wife Debbie told him, "You don't love me anymore. I remember when you used to. Things were so different then." Before they could talk further, there was a loud knock at the door. Henry opened it to find his friend Eddie, along with a man named Joe who looked very sick and kept vomiting. Debbie, being a nurse, immediately brought Joe inside to help him. Eddie then told Henry that Joe's basketball team had a match that day, but Joe was too sick to play, so Henry should take his place. Henry tried to refuse, but Eddie forced him into a jersey and took him along on the way. Henry asked where the game would be. Eddie said it was only 15 minutes away. Then suddenly, Eddie told him to stop the car, claiming they were just going to get some food and would be right back. Henry should keep the engine running. But as they walked away, Eddie and two other men, whom Henry didn't even know, put on masks, pulled out guns, and ran into a bank. Henry had no idea they were robbing it, or that the car they were using was stolen and hot-wired. Soon, they came running out and chaos broke out. A guard spotted Henry wearing the same t-shirt as the robbers and assumed he was part of the gang. He was arrested on the spot. Police kept asking him to name his accomplices, but Henry, who only knew Eddie, stayed silent, thinking, "He's still my friend, no matter what." That loyalty cost him. Henry was sentenced to 3 years in prison for attempted bank robbery. In prison, Henry met Max, a talkative older inmate who asked Henry about his dreams. Henry replied that he didn't have any, but Max told him, "Not having a dream is the biggest crime." 6 months later, Debbie visited Henry and confessed she'd fallen in love with someone else. Henry took it well, telling her he just wanted her to be happy, even if not with him. Max, meanwhile, was feared by other inmates. He once told a parole officer, "If you release me, I'll kill your dog, burn your house, and cut out the tongues of everyone inside." It was his dark sense of humor, or maybe not. When Henry's release date finally came, he went to see Debbie, only to find Joe at her door and Debbie pregnant with Joe's child. Shocked, Henry left quietly. Joe offered him a business deal as thanks for not naming him in court, but Henry refused. Later, Henry wandered to the same bank where it had all begun, and was hit by a car driven by a woman named Julie. After an argument, the bank guard who had arrested Henry years ago came over to help. Inside a cafe, Henry realized he'd seen Julie somewhere before, but she brushed him off in the cafe bathroom. Henry spotted an old newspaper clipping from 80 years ago about a bank robbery carried out via an underground tunnel from a nearby theater. The tunnel ran directly under the vault. Henry immediately went to see Max in prison and told him he'd finally found his dream, robbing that bank for real. Max was skeptical, asking if Henry had a plan. Henry said it was top class. Henry went to the theater, where Julie was rehearsing. Her director was scolding her for poor acting. Over coffee later, Henry complimented her acting and thanked her for not pressing charges after the accident. Meanwhile, Max applied for parole, using Henry's coaching to appear cooperative. When Max got out, Henry met him on foot. No getaway car, which annoyed Max. But after hearing Henry's tunnel heist plan, Max reluctantly agreed. They confirmed at the bank that the vault had never been moved since it was built. Then, at the theater, Max managed to scout the hidden tunnel entrance. Julie became curious about Henry's life, and he admitted he'd just been released from prison. She guessed it was for murder, but he said it was a long story. They ended up planning a dinner date. That night, Henry told Julie the truth about his past and his plan to rob the bank. She was shocked but drawn to him. Their relationship quickly turned romantic. Max wasn't thrilled about involving Julie, but Henry insisted she'd help. Soon, they realized digging the tunnel was too much work for just the two of them, so they brought Joe into the plan. Joe, however, thought it would be easier to just rob the bank at gunpoint, but Max dismissed the idea. One night, the bank guard, the same one who had arrested Henry, confronted him again. Instead of turning him in, the guard offered insider help. Every month, a truck delivered huge sums to the vault, sometimes over $10 million. He could disable alarms for them. Meanwhile, Julie's acting coach told her she'd never be a great actress without real heartbreak. She cried privately, admitting to Henry she'd never been in love. Henry told her she already loved him. She just didn't realize it yet. Then Eddie reappeared, demanding to join the heist after Joe spilled the plan to him. Max hated Eddie instantly, and the two nearly fought. Soon, Henry's feelings for Julie made him hesitate about the robbery. But Max reminded him that he'd gotten him out of prison for this job, and Max wasn't about to back out now. Henry told Julie they'd robbed the bank on the opening night of the play, after which he'd leave for California and she could chase her Hollywood dream. Julie accused him of using her and stormed off. Finally, the big day arrived. During the play, Henry slipped away at the right moment to help Max and Joe break into the vault using welding equipment. The guard kept his word and disabled the alarms. But Eddie betrayed them, pulling a gun on Max and demanding the money for himself. Joe tried to stop him, and when Henry arrived, things escalated. A struggle broke out. A shot grazed Henry's leg, and Max knocked Eddie out. Tying him up with the money secured, Henry suddenly told Max and Joe to go without him. He rushed back to the theater mid-performance, limping onto the stage to declare his love for Julie in front of the audience. The crowd thought it was part of the show, cheering for the scene. Julie, realizing he was sincere, didn't say yes out loud, but her expression said everything, and in the end, Henry got the girl. And the money? Well, let's just say he didn't leave empty-handed.